I'm gonna be honest with you, I love a good scandal. I love a good scandal, especially when it involves video games, because it's just fun to talk about. You know, these companies, these people that smell their own farts on the internet that are involved in the video game industry, getting exposed, getting these things showcased and a negative light shown on them when everything is always trying to be super positive. It just brings me joy to sort of give people a realization that nobody is perfect, no matter what anyone thinks. Now, recently, I, of course, made a video talking about retro gaming and the big problem with retro gaming. I summarized that it's really just the gatekeepers that are making retro gaming a negative thing nowadays, but I did allude to the pricing and, of course, WATA situation. Most of you guys were pretty receptive to that video. I saw a lot of response videos with most people, like, agreeing with me and enjoying what I had to say about it, so I want to thank you. You know, it's kind of hard to stick your neck out there and kind of make yourself a target sometimes, you know, because obviously that video is not going to sit well with some people. But like I said in that video itself, if that video doesn't sit well with you, if that video made you upset, you're probably part of the problem anyway, so whatever, I'll get over it. But like I said, I talked about WATA very briefly in that video because I don't like WATA. I don't understand the whole concept. I think the whole thing is stupid. And now WATA has once again been exposed as the biggest scam in retro gaming, but not a lot of people are talking about this. So I want to shine some light on this new evidence that has just been happening. WATA got exposed once again. They actually had to make a statement on it. So we're going to talk about all the things happening with it right now. But before we get too deep into the video, I'm going to give a huge thank you to today's sponsor, Raycon. Out of all the sponsors I have on this channel, the one that I use on a daily basis would definitely be Raycon with the Raycon Everyday Earbuds. The Raycon Everyday Earbuds look, feel, and sound better than ever. They have optimized gel tips that fit perfectly in your ear, and they're super comfortable. They don't even move when you're singing White Zombie karaoke and headbanging.
Well, a little hit, little hot, yeah, living on the hill, riding across the sea, tomorrow.
They offer 8 hours of playtime and a 32-hour battery life, and the most important thing is they are a fraction of the price of the competition while still giving you some excellent sound quality. There are over 50,000 5-star reviews for the Raycon Everyday Earbuds, and there's tons of features packed into them as well. There's a built-in microphone. You can tap the earbud itself to get various sound settings depending on what you're doing. They're simply incredible for the price that you pay for them, and the sound quality is just unmatched. And they're sweat and water resistant too. Click the link in the description box right now or head over to buyraycon.com/RGT85 to get 15% off your Raycon purchase. Seriously guys, I use these every single day and I love them, and I really feel like you'll love them too. Be sure to support the brands that support me and help keep the lights on here over on RGT85, and a huge thank you to Raycon for sponsoring today's video. All right, so here we go. In case you live under a rock and you're unfamiliar with what WATA is, it's essentially the biggest grading company around. You send them a sealed video, or it used to be you send them a sealed video game, and then they inspect it. They look over it with, I guess, like a Mr. Peanut monocle, like, look at this. Look at this seal. This is a nice seal. And then they give it a number grade, and they put it in a plastic encasing, and then somehow, some way that makes the game like 10 times more valuable than if you didn't have it graded, because I don't know. There's really no rhyme or reason or any explanation to it. It's obviously, you know, a market where you could ask for whatever you want, and if someone's willing to buy it at that price, you know, I guess that's what it's worth to some degree. But why is it worth that much? Why is it worth that much when I could buy a sealed copy of a game if I really wanted it, that's not in the stupid plastic, doesn't have a stupid WATA number on it, and, you know, you can actually, you know, just hold it in your hands. Like, I don't know. The whole thing to me is absolutely ridiculous. Of course, it costs money to send stuff to WATA as well, because they're going to make their money. Terrible turnaround times. The whole thing is an absolute sham. I've talked about them before. But recently, within the past couple of days, there's been a situation brewing that was discovered by a fellow YouTube creator named Mad Little Pixel. If you're unfamiliar with him, here's a look at his channel. Make sure you guys go check him out. Show him some love. I've actually known this dude for quite a while now. I remember we played Friday the 13th on Nintendo Switch together because we got review codes for the game. There wasn't a lot of people playing. I like Ron, Mad Little Pixel, because he's a very lone wolf dude. Like, he just exists on his portion of YouTube and he just does his own thing. And like, he's cool with like everyone, unless you got a problem with him. So I could definitely respect him. Definitely an OG. I like his work. Make sure you guys go check him out. But he's been dealing with the situation with WATA grading fake games. So much to the point of where WATA actually issued a statement on their blog, hidden on their website, to sort of talk about this. So you could see here, basically how this ended up happening was WATA was grading some fake games as authentic with a Rondo of Blood, basically a PC and the PC Engine version of Castlevania Rondo of Blood, which of course never was officially released in North America, but there's been reproduction companies that have come along. I believe it was called, PCE Works. I actually have a copy of this. It's like a collector's copy of the game, and basically what that is, it's like a high quality reproduction, but at the end of the day, it's still a reproduction. It's not an original release from Konami for the PC Engine in Japan. It's something for, you know, the aftermarket of it, because obviously this game isn't being produced anymore. Well, Ron did some digging and he found that some copies of this game were being sold on eBay for like $4,000 that were WATA graded. So right then and there are really two like red flags that should pop up here. One, that this game is $4,000 for a graded copy that's obviously a reproduction, but two, WATA graded a reproduction game. Now, I understand that WATA has, you know, expanded upon what they grade. It used to just be sealed games. Now you can send them like cartridges and boxes, and they'll grade anything, because I think they realize none of this means anything. They're making money by giving you a grade. You know what? Half price. RGT will start grading your games. All right. I'll give you a cardboard box. I won't give you a nice plastic casing on it or whatever. But like, I think they realize that there's really no numerical value to when they grade a game. They give it an arbitrary score based on what we don't really know, but you mail it in and then they send it back to you, telling you whether it can be graded or not. It used to just be like sealed stuff or stuff that was never opened or stuff like that. When it's a console, obviously you got to do a little bit more digging, but with this, they literally graded a reproduction copy of the game. So two things ended up happening with this. First thing you can see, Ron is here showing off some images of the Super CD-ROM 2 version of Rondo of Blood that was graded by WATA Games. Obviously, this is not the original version of the game. Like, it's a bootleg, it's a reproduction. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's not the official release that came out originally back in, I guess, 94 that game came out. Don't crucify me in the comments section down below. But he did some comparisons showing off the real version of the game to the reproduction version of the game. The guy who he ended up doing this about, the eBay seller, which we talked about earlier, the guy that was selling these things for $4,000, or trying to at least, ended up trying to sue him. He sent him an email saying, "Take down your video, this is defamation about me, blah, blah, blah." And it's like, bro, what did he say that was wrong in this? He didn't say anything that was wrong in this. He said that this was not an original copy of the game. It was a reproduction copy of the game, which it clearly was. It clearly was, especially if you're a fan of this game. You kind of know what little nuances to look for with it. It was a reproduction of the game. There's been a bunch of companies that have done this before. It's not a big deal. It happens, but it's kind of like the whole thing with NES games where people, you know, if you're selling a high value NES game, people want to see the board on it to make sure that it's not a reproduction, even though it's going to play the game the same way. I can understand it. You know, I can understand that people want an authentic copy of the game. So this guy tried to like sue Ron over this, threatened to sue him and all this shit. And I'm like, what is wrong with these people? Like, what is wrong with these people? But you can't help but think and go back to what we were originally talking about with this. This isn't necessarily the seller's fault. The seller simply sent in a game to be graded by WATA, and WATA didn't do their due diligence. WATA did not recognize that this was a reproduction copy of the game. So they're experts. They're big, huge experts that can look at every little nook and cranny with their little Mr. Peanut monocle. They couldn't do it. They couldn't figure out that this was a reproduction. What the hell is going on there? And this is something that has been talked about time and time again. They have been caught doing stuff like this. I understand things can essentially fall through the cracks, but when this is your job, your literal whole business is based around the principle that you are, you know, classifying these games at a higher standard than a standard, you know, sealed copy of a game based on how sealed it is, you should be able to identify a real from a fake. You should be able to do it. I'm sorry. If it takes you longer, then take longer. You already tell people it's like 6 months to get a submission back anyways. Why are you rushing through this stuff? It makes no sense to me. So then this guy ended up dropping his case against Ron because Ron was just like, piss off, you know, this is ridiculous. But now WATA waddled into the situation because now they're starting to get heat from this situation about this. Now, Ron actually found out that they were talking about this on their website via a blog post. You kind of got to dig a little bit to find it, but let's take a look at the blog post together. Official policy on reproduction homebrews and ROM hacks. This is done on the 10th, so just a few days ago. It was 2 days ago at the time of the filming of this video. I'm filming this on Thursday evening. A note from WATA. In June of 2021, WATA mistakenly authenticated a PCE Works Castlevania Rondo of Blood reproduction. We learned about PCE Works reproduction shortly thereafter grading, and have taken steps to ensure that this will never happen again. Although rare, mistakes do happen, but isolated authentic mistakes certainly aren't representative of our services as a whole or the values we stand for. At WATA, we take pride in spearheading new authentication technologies, which allows us to stay ahead of the continually advancing counterfeit methods, providing, like, shut up. This is so ridiculous. Although reproduction games were never allowed, some homebrews and ROM hacks commissions has historically been allowed a one-off basis under former WATA policy, such as Pokemon Liquid Crystal, but then they changed that and sort of stuff. But here's the thing. Here's the thing that brings everything back full circle. I am in no way, shape, or form a diehard PC Engine fan. Okay, I remember Kid Shoryuken, another YouTube channel, go check him out. I was in the market for a PC Engine, the briefcase. I wanted basically the ability to play PC Engine and cartridges, or the Hue cards, and the disc games as well. He lives in Japan. He found me a good system at a good price. I ended up buying it. I, of course, bought games for the system. This was, Christ, 7 years ago, 6-7 years ago. There's some videos on the channel of me talking about stuff like Street Fighter 2 on there, stuff like that, Japanese games that never came out stateside. I got a copy of the Rondo of Blood game. A viewer of mine, Steve, who ended up becoming a buddy of mine, he ended up getting me a copy of it when I was moving to Delaware as kind of like a congratulations gift. And so I know about PC Engine, PCE Works. Like, I know about this company, and I'm a very casual PC Engine fan. This is your life. This is the whole crux of your business, is knowing about things like this. And you could not identify a fake version of the game. I'm not saying fake in a negative manner. I'm saying fake in the fact that it is not an original version of the game. It is a reproduction. It is a remade version of the game. Why the hell would I believe anything you ever have to say if you can't identify this? A high dollar item, something that a lot of people know about in the retro community, especially if they have any interest in the PC Engine whatsoever. If you have an interest in the PC Engine, you kind of look and see what games are out there, but you could go anywhere and see these reproductions made of PC Engine games, especially the disc games, because you just burn it onto a freaking disc. This is insanity. WATA is ridiculous. They have time and time and time again been exposed to not know what the hell they're doing. And it keeps happening. Things keep popping up. These are just the things that get caught. Think about this for a second. This is how we're going to wrap up this video. These are just the things that get caught because of keen eyes. If it wasn't for Mad Little Pixel noticing this doesn't look right on eBay, if he didn't notice it, this whole situation would have never been brought up. It would have been completely swept under the rug. Someone could have purchased that game for $4 grand, added it into their collection, never knowing it was a fake game. It only gets brought up when somebody brings it up. It only gets brought up when somebody notices it with a keen eye. Otherwise, WATA and this eBay seller are just skirting away with the money. Like, how does none of this sound insane to anyone? Stop this bullshit. It's crazy. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And I will continue to post mean things on WATA's Facebook whenever one of their sponsored this little post pops up on my Facebook. I always tell them to S my D because I'm 12 years old. I don't know. It's just, I hate them. The whole thing is stupid. It's stupid. Comic books, baseball cards. I understand that. Those are things made out of paper. A freaking video game. Oh my God. Anyways, WATA, you can go to hell. You guys are a freaking joke, and I think we've done a good job of exposing all of this. Let's give some shout-outs before we wrap things up. Shout-outs to Raycon for sponsoring today's video. They're awesome. I literally use them every day. I use them today to work out. I go on the treadmill for like 2.5 miles a day, and I'm just listening to, I usually listen to metal on the treadmill because like rap, I don't know, it kind of calms me down, but like metal just gets me going. And shout out to Mad Little Pixel. Make sure you guys go check him out. Check out Raycon in the description box down below. Link in the description. Mad Little Pixel, link in the description box down as well. Just tell him I said hi. If you go over there, tell him RGT sent you. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. We're trying to hit 500,000 subscribers this year. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.